I have completed another couple of mods on my Kershaw Launch 20. Let me zoom out because the camera is wobbly. Then I'll pick him up and bring him closer again. So, from up close, it looks a bit shoddy and battle worn, but you get the effect from a distance for sure of this black outlining here. So what I did was just strip the finish. I had a couple of notions in mind because this finish that they paint on here is very slippery feeling. And I thought that by doing this, it would give a rougher... Just coming right off onto my thumb. Well, I believe I'm supposed to leave it to cure, but maybe it's not going to hold that well. Oh dear. We'll see. Maybe I'm supposed to leave it to cure for a while and then put some wax on it. May have to reapply. But it's patchy anyway, because it's very difficult to get through this finish, whatever they put on it. It really took... the first time around, I was just ages just doing an experiment on one bevel using sandpaper. So this time around, I did them all using this diamond file, and then this thing. You had to kind of chip off the finish rather than scraping through it. It just doesn't really scrape through, even with the diamond file. So I don't know if it's like a DLC or what they're using, but very resistant. Maybe it's not a good aluminum for blacking. But anyway, as I say, I like the look, and it gives a bit of a rougher texture right on areas where you are definitely making contacts when you're gripping. Yeah. The carbon fiber gives a bit of grip too, but your hand kind of bypasses the carbon fiber. It kind of goes around it more than on it, depending on how you're holding the knife. If you're holding it a different way, maybe. So... the original pocket clip was very uncomfortable. Very bad ergos. I removed it. And I went to Lynch Northwest to search for a superior pocket clip. And I found one. So in this box I have... I'll take this thing out here. Yeah, you sent a cool little keychain fob. I have an example, this is wrapped, of the same pocket clip that was on this. And so if you look at that, you can see that the height here and the height here is the same. And this hard angle there prangs your hand, such that after minor use, the paint was worn off here, on this clip just from rubbing on my hand. So that's a no-go. And so I was just carrying it deep pocket, and that was nice. While I was awaiting this Lynch Northwest. I always want to say Lynch by Northwest, like the movie North by Northwest. So while I was looking on the Lynch website, I saw something. Here it is. And after some humming and hawing, I decided to buy it. And part of the justification was that I was actually considering repeat purchasing a Launch 20 because of messing this one up or refining it, depending on what it is I'm actually doing, which remains to be seen. But this blade has been quite heavily, well, not very heavily, but it's been significantly reground, and I would like to do some cutting tests comparing the edge that I put on this over many hours by hand. I don't think I used the Tormek, or maybe I used the Tormek briefly on this, but mostly it was just by hand. Convexing it, blending the bevels and getting it kind of thin and straightening it out as well, which is still not entirely complete. And to that point, And I have heard that Magna Cut just has these issues with warping. And you can see that this is not straight either. But what caught my eye about this, apart from that it's a nice knife, is that it seemed to me to be a real match for the blade profile of the Launch 20. Now, having them in hand, there are some significant differences. This one is quite a lot thinner, seemingly, and it's a full flat grind, and it's a bit wider, and part of that is because this has been sharpened down. But somewhat to my credit, I would say, if you match up the pivots, and yeah, consider that I have removed quite a lot of material from this, so it depends on how you want to line it up, but you can see that's about what I took off the point. That's probably about what I took off the book, coming towards what I took off the belly. But they are different. It's just that how was there not going to be some kind of design influence of the one over the other, being that they're from the same design house, made in the same steel. And so I thought, well, why don't I just get myself one of these instead of another Launch 20? Because it is a Kershaw blade in the same steel, in a very similar profile, with the factory edge. And so, as a comparison, it serves me just as well as having another Launch 20, I reckon. Because what I'm looking to find out is how my edge compares to a Kershaw factory edge in the same steel, with very likely the same heat treatment. I mean, there could be a variety in the heat treatment between one Launch 20 and another, just as there could be a variety between this and this. But I think it's fair to assume that they're going to be, or going to have been, very similar performing out of the box. Maybe not actually, because I would say that the Launch 20 did have, it seemed very thick behind the edge to me. It seemed a lot thicker, really, than this is a lot slicier. But it still has, the marked, rather steeper primary bevel, with a full shoulder on it. Might have been stropped a little, but there's definitely, very much a shoulder on that, as opposed to that. So I think it should be interesting to compare them in the cutting. And I will say that this crossbar lock, I think it's the most usable knife that I've tried with the, usually I fudge it. I have some trouble. It bounces when it reaches the end here, and it's not dignified. But, yeah. Well, like that, but so far with this, I seem to, have a bit less trouble. And it's nice, very lightweight. It all looks very solid. And this one got gunged up, actually, which is I haven't actually dealt with yet. The spring, the Magna Cut blade, no oxidation there, but the springs must have gotten wet at some point. Well, for sure, because I was flushing it with hot water and then putting grease. But I mean, like an EDC spray in there. But anyway, it rusted in there, and it was having trouble firing. And that even kind of got me thinking, well, if I like this kind of blade, but this one, because of the condition of my pockets, is going to end up not, misfiring and having trouble for me, then maybe I prefer to carry this one as an EDC slicer kind of thing. Lightweight. Probably about the same weight when all said and done. Well, this will be a little heavier, maybe. Okay. Well, I got your attention. I'll show you one more thing I'm working on. Finally got the handle off this old Brazilian, well, old, vintage, probably from the 80s, Brazilian-made buoy. It's called, I think it's called a Cobra Hunter. We can see the hunter, but not the Cobra writing. But you might be able to make out. Isn't that what it's called? I looked it up online. Maybe it's just called a hunter. I don't know what I'm seeing now. Well, some kind of hunter. It's a buoy. Had this big guard on it that was flapping around that fit into these plastic grips. There's a piece of one of those around here on the floor. Fake plastic stag kind of thing. Fairly resilient, actually, but I was whittling on this piece of mountain laurel, it's called. This is the other part of it. So I cut that off there. And this is a really thick piece. It's by far the thickest piece of mountain laurel that I found. Usually the thickest you get is like something like this, you know. But this was already dead, and I said, wow, maybe I could get a knife handle out of there. It's very hard, and it's very dense. And just with a knife, I'm getting this very smooth finish on it. And it I don't know about the look of it. If I wet it with my teeth here, whoops. I think maybe once it's shaped and polished up, it could be quite nice. Anyway, I'm going to try. So this kind of shape was coming out of the piece. And I thought, you know, to go for something like a leuku, something like that. And I remembered this blade. It's pretty sweet. So, yeah, something like that, I'm thinking. Perhaps a little bolster. Where did I put it? Piece of this fat carbon offcut. Something like that. Mountain Man buoy. Mountain Laurel Man buoy. Okay, enough. Thank you for watching. I will update once I put the Kershaw Launch 20 together, and I'm going to get some sisal rope, hopefully do some cutting tests. Bye.